Okay, this is the regular monthly Woodbridge Board of Finance meeting for Thursday, June 20, 2013. And at this point, we do not have a quorum. We are planning to have one, but so we'd like to get started and perhaps work on items that don't require any votes, which is not much. But let's start with public comments. I believe there are none. Pat is here for her suspense list, which we can't really vote on until we have a quorum, Pat, so
I'll just
sit tight. Okay, Tony, why don't you,
Okay, I'll do it my
why
monthly
don't you
report.
do your monthly report?
The monthly report is through May, is a budgetary surplus of about $147,000. That would leave us with a fund balance of $4.68 million, or 10.35% of our budget. And on a revenue side, and we have our tax collector here, but we have a surplus of about $172,000 in our taxes. And this is primarily due to some back taxes that we've collected in the tax office. So that's the major reason for a lot of our big surplus this year. Intergovernmental revenue, we did receive a one-time distribution of a little under $60,000 from the state revenue sharing program that we didn't have budgeted. So that leaves us with a budget of about a surplus of about $45,000. We received a little bit less in some of the other formulary grants, the veterans grant and the some of the other formularies. So we're about $45,000 surplus there. In department revenues, this is where we've seen the biggest swing. We are now projecting a shortfall of about $216,000. This has varied somewhat significantly from the last month, and this is largely in part due to a shortfall in golf revenues from the country club, which is now at about, in total, this operation is projecting a shortfall of about $250,000. And remember, it was about $70,000 for a while, and then it was about $150,000. And the reason is, obviously, as we've all witnessed, is the weather. We've had a rather wet spring. And so I just want to make sure you're all aware of that shortfall.
Which is one of the inherent risks of the golf business. You're relying on the weather. And what happens is, as a former golfer, it might pour one day, and so you figure, like Memorial Day weekend, for example, was miserable. And you figure, well, they'll open the course today and everything will be fine, but with the course wet, you can't send the carts out because they'll destroy the place. So golfers will call and say, "Are the carts out?" "Nope." "Okay, bye." And then you go somewhere else. So it's weather is the ruination of the golf business, and in general, I think we've all talked about this. The golf business per se is off. It's way off. I mean, I said to somebody, maybe it was Joe, that there used to be, or actually I said it was Father Gene today. There used to be 3 or 4 golf warehouse on the Boston Post Road.
Right,
they all
right.
closed up. It's not a good business anymore. And despite the fact that Oak Lane and Woodbridge closed, I understand Racebrook is struggling with membership and income and so forth. So think about it. They let a lot of members in from the 2 clubs, and yet they're still struggling. So, as are all the clubs. I mean, New Haven Country Club is. My wife got a letter from New Haven Country Club to join. My wife wouldn't know a T from a driveway.
She's on the list.
I said, "What did you get this for?" "I don't know. This is an invitation to join New Haven Country Club." So I said, "That's good." So it's a tough business. So,
When they have good days, they are doing better than that last year.
Oh, sure.
The course is in better shape, and they're getting a better response. That's the good news. Bad news is, as Matt indicated, there's inherent risks to running a golf operation, and weather is one of
And I
them.
remember last Memorial Day, Anthony Taddy reported to us that they were coming out of the woodwork to go swimming and so forth. And if you remember, this Memorial Day Sunday poured. So they had Monday, which was a very chilly, cold day. So whatever they did last year, they didn't duplicate it this
That's
year
true.
from a swimming point
Right.
of view. So as our newly elected first selectman comes on board, I think she recognizes there's something to be done here.
Definitely a top priority.
Yeah, and we got to deal with it. I think we've done. As I said, people who are complaining, I think we've done what we said we'd do. We gave it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
We brought in a really professional organization, and I think they're even puzzled by that.
Yeah.
So.
Have they been able to schedule more events?
than last year
I don't think so.
to try to make up for some of that shortfall?
They're trying, but there hasn't been a huge influx of new events.
Okay.
I mean, for the, outings, that sort of thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
There used to
they're a
be-
little late
Yeah.
in getting started too.
Well, again, as a former golfer, the outings used to be tremendously popular.
Yes.
You had to sign up with, now it's, $280 for a guy to play, and, it's coming down to people are saying, I don't think so. So, whereas before you'd have, on 18 holes, you'd have 22 foursomes with 2 foursomes on every.
Right.
Now they can't even fill it up anymore. It's just, it's an economic thing. So, and it's not only, it's everywhere. The golf, I think we've heard from people, the golf business is hurting. So, it's something we're going to definitely have to address in the future. I know Ellen is tuned into it. So, okay.
So next, starting July 1, the golf operation will be a enterprise fund, as opposed to in the general fund. What simply that means is it's not part of our general fund budget, but it's its own enterprise fund, self-sustaining fund. So there'll be a separate reporting mechanism.
But we're still liable.
We still are liable for it, and we have to subsidize it should the enterprise fund run a shortfall.
Right. But it won't roll up into our overall budget.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Right.
Okay.
And it's not part of our overall general fund appropriation that's made every year.
Okay.
It's sort of designed so that the revenues can support the expenditures.
Okay.
Anything else, Tony?
Yeah, and expenditures, Amity, as we've discussed, there's a surplus there of $85,000. Waste management, due to reduced tonnage, has a $55,000 projected surplus. And in employee benefits, there may be a shortfall, which I may have to transfer next month. I want to see where the final payrolls come in. But when we had these storms, we were reimbursed by FEMA for not only payroll but benefits, which would be FICA, mainly FICA and Medicare and retirement are all driven off of payroll. So in the event there's overtime or what have you, we would have additional expenditures there, which we were reimbursed for. So I have to sort of see where those come in. We may need to transfer a few more dollars for that. We have completed, for the most part, I think we've completed now our filings for FEMA for Storm Nemo, which was the snowstorm.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just waiting to hear back on those. We've done all of our FEMA applications there. So, okay.
The Woodbridge Board of Education report is in here. Which I believe, they're projecting about a $42,000 surplus
Mm-hmm.
as of this writing. So Sandy might have another say on that. Anything else, Tony?
Let's see. No, that's it.
Okay, we cannot do funding requests. We cannot do approval of minutes. I don't know, Ellen, do you have, first select report, do you have anything you'd like to talk about?
How lengthy a report would you like?
That's
Well,
what
I'll tell
you
you,
want to take.
until Andy gets here, keep talking.
Well, as you all probably know, the Board of Selectmen did act to move the animal control from the Police Department supervision to the Board of Selectmen, and Tony, it will be under Tony's direct supervision, and that's gone very smoothly so far. The police chief and the police commission were very supportive of the move, and so that's gone very well.
Yep. All right.
Andy's here?
Yeah.
Well, I'll just tell you a few other things
No,
that
go ahead.
Beth and I have been doing so Andy can sit down.
Thank God, Andy, you're our quorum.
Beth Heller and I attended the Bethwood Baseball League's closing ceremony, which were really very, very fun and also moving. They did a tribute to Ed Sheehy with a banner that will be up at the ball field. And Ellie was there with her family. It was very nice. There was also, I attended a ribbon cutting for the Jewish Family Services Food Pantry in Westville, and they do serve residents in Woodbridge as well as New Haven and other towns. So that was noteworthy and also a significant event. I also went to Dr. Brady's retirement dinner, and I guess the main message about Dr. Brady, I took away was Dr. Brady made the Board of Education go from really exciting to boring, and he made the school go from maybe not so exciting to very exciting, which is quite a tribute to him. That was terrific. The South School dedication was something really remarkable for the town. If anyone hasn't visited this school, it's just beautiful. It was so well done. The committee that worked on it was really worked hard, and it's a very authentic one-room schoolhouse. Sandy was there.
It was
Wasn't it?
beautiful, yeah.
It was so beautiful.
And there were so many people there. It
Right.
was great. A lot of support.
Yeah, it was just terrific. I recommend really take it right over. And I also attended the Memorial Day ceremony, which is a wonderful town tradition. We had several veterans there. Good tribute by the town and for the town. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And also, I guess I read that the teen center, I'm sure you're all there, is going to name the cafeteria or
Yeah, Ed's
Ed's
Cafe,
Cafe, June
yeah.
30th, which is
Yeah.
next Sunday, about 3 o'clock there, which is a really nice tribute to a great guy. So that's something else I guess you want to stop down there. Okay, so now we can return to our agenda, and item 2 is approval of suspense list. Pat Crisco is here, and Pat, you just want to explain to,
Sure.
for the people watching in the TV land, what this is all about?
By state statute, every municipality is to have a suspense tax book, which means that we are required to go through our list of people who are delinquent and put them on a list. It does, that people that we feel are not collectible. It does not mean that we will never collect them. All it does is move them to a different spot in our finance chart. And we often go after them. A lot of the people move away. There are people on the list who have passed away. They just become uncollectible. What's different about the list this year is that I have included, for the first time, real estate. If you'll go through the real estate, you'll see that a number of them beginning, I believe again with 1997 is the first year that's on there. These are what were called theater lots, and they are located over near where Jeremy Garden is, in that area. And many years ago, these lots were probably, not even as big as this room, so they're like half a room, were given as gifts, as prizes in the theaters in downtown New Haven. And people who won them thought they had won the lottery. And years ago, they actually would come out and use them. They would have picnics out there and things like that. Some of them have been on the rolls for years and years, and the people passed on, and for some reason, it was never included in their list of things that they had assets when they died. It didn't go through probate. So we now have a number of them. We have tried contacting a lot of these people to go further and to really go after it. It costs a lot of money. We would have to hire someone to come in and search it and then really try to find families. Other towns, when they reach this point, also on the list, you're going to see there are 2 large dollar properties. Both of those lots are unbuildable and have been listed that way for many years. The owners of them do not want to give them up. I think they feel that someday they will dry up and they will be able to build on them.
Not this spring.
What century?
Not this spring.
Yeah.
But they are also not properties that the town really needs to take. What are we going to do with unbuildable lots and give away the dollars that maybe someday we will collect if they dry up? A number of towns, what they do with properties like this is they hold tax sales. A tax sale is not something that I think our town needs, because we cannot discriminate. If we put those properties on a tax sale, I must include other properties of the same value, who owe around the same amount of money. And that opens up, there's a whole nother world that we've tried to avoid here. I mean, we've done some foreclosures, but they've been on, one was on a lot, actually, we did 2 lots. And one was on a home, that the person who was involved in it really didn't want it anyway. He was hoping somebody would do something, so we did. And those 3 were sold, and they're off our records now. And that part is what Tony was talking about. We did take in
That's where
That's
we have the
more money.
surplus, yeah.
for that, that's part of our surplus.
So these real estate, we see the same name again and
Right.
again and again.
It's same-
Those are the ones you're
Some of the
talking
same
about?
ones, yeah.
Okay, so we're not gonna do much with those.
But it looks like about, 60 to 70%
lot of
of
money.
that total is
Yeah.
from those
There's
large.
2 or 3.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
And as I said, we're not making it uncollectible.
right.
The statute, all it does is move it to a different side of our financial status. Is that how?
Yeah, so, and if you look at our financial audit, we have required the tax collector, and it has each year, collectible, what's collected, percentage not collected, that sort of thing. This removes that from that calculation. It's still, that's something we will try and collect, but it does not become part of our official receivable, tax receivable.
Any questions for Pat on this? Something we do every year. Okay. So I will make a motion that we approve the suspense list presented by Pat Crisco.
Second?
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
And again, just, you still go after them, right? You still-
Oh, yeah.
They stay on your books.
Yeah. Let's hope this is another good year for us. We'll be mailing bills the very end of the month. Due date is July 1st, but they are payable by August 1st, first half of real estate. Cars are all in one bill, and personal property over $100 is in 2 times. Those are questions.
Okay, thank
We could use some big commercial here.
you.
Nice job.
Thanks.
Okay, next, we'll move to item 4, which is funding requests. We have several. The first is a request for contingency for the vestibule that we've heard about of the recreational. I'm sure you can give us a little more explanation.
Yes.
Well, let's just get it for discussion. I'll move acceptance of request for funding 1213-34 in the amount of $4,585.
Second?
Okay. Tony?
So in the budget for next fiscal year was a vestibule for recreation for $27,000. And what was contemplated at that time was more of a full vestibule with glass and bricks and mortar, the whole thing. And John was at saw the awning they have outside of Antonio's,
Right.
and thought this would be fine. We don't need a full vestibule, but rather something like this would be more than adequate.
A windshield.
That's all.
That's really what they need, yeah.
So you'll see the drastic price reduction from
Good.
$27,000 to $4,585 reflects that decision.
That was exactly my question. It's like, how do you get from 27 to 4,500? So, great.
Go from glass to canvas.
Correct,
Yeah.
Right, and plastic.
pretty much.
Okay, any questions?
Right, no,
No? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
it's great.
Yep.
Next is another request for funding, and this is to fund the deficit in banking fees, primarily due to low earnings credit rate. Yeah, no surprise. Okay, I'll move acceptance of request for funding 1213-35 in the amount of $7,000.
Second.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory, although I guess Ben Bernanke took a big step yesterday
Right.
towards
Maybe
maybe
we'll have to
improving
do this next year.
Destroyed the stock market in one fell swoop.
Yes.
But we're going to get another 0.5% of interest. So any questions on this?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next is a line item transfer within the Registrar of Voters Office to cover a deficit in the election workers line item. So I will move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-36 in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
I guess Tony is again self-explanatory.
Correct, yeah, there's a memo attached from the
Yeah.
registrars.
Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Another line-item transfer for tires in the Parks Department. I'll move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-37 in the amount of $1,936.
Second.
Any questions on this? Again, pretty self-explanatory. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Line item transfer, this is the FEMA money?
Yep,
Okay, moving it, this is just a formality. We're moving it into the, to our budgets.
yes,
It's we're using it for
we had to do additional audit
additional
testing.
auditing
Yeah,
to get the money, okay.
right, to get the money
I'll
right.
move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-38 in the amount of $3,500.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
And finally, another line item transfer within government access TV for several small equipment purchases, which is pretty well explained here. I'll move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-39 in the amount of $3,000.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If you ever have any problems with our government access TV, get AT&T Uverse and watch what they do. This is 10 times better than anything they. Pool gives me some tapes to look at. They're almost unwatchable. So Pool does an outstanding job. Thank you. Okay, approval of minutes. Let's get back on track here.
Can I ask a question
Sure.
about the contingency? So we basically will have a balance of about $3,000?
Correct,
Okay. And so does that just go back to the general fund?
correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we have two sets of minutes. One is the annual town meeting, and one is our regular meeting. The
Yeah,
First
amazing.
First is May 16th, which is our regular monthly meeting, and I will move acceptance of the minutes of May 16th as presented.
Second.
Any corrections, adjustments, etc.? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained?
Abstain.
Okay. And the second set was the annual town meeting on May 20th, which was a record short meeting. And I think you're being generous here. Yeah, it's 7:46. I'll move acceptance of the minutes of the Woodbridge Board of Finance for Monday, May 20th, 2013 as presented.
Second.
I know there's no corrections, so all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, liaison reports, Amity, from a budgetary situation, there's really nothing, there's gonna be very little money left over, if any. And if there is a little bit, they got a couple of small projects they'd like to do, so I would imagine they're gonna finish the year very close to a break even, which, with a 0.47% increase, Dr. Brady kind of prepared us for that. It was a tight, very tight budget, so, and it's certainly living up to that. Graduation is tomorrow, I'm sure you all know, and Dr. Brady, I also attended Dr. Brady's dinner. I don't know if his last day is a week from tomorrow, 28th. And I'm sure you all read that they've appointed an interim, and the interim is our friend Mike Nast, who has served twice before as interim. And as he serves, they will continue looking for a replacement. And that's about all I know here. The Board of Education is the committee empowered to do this, and I really don't know much more beyond that, so. But we have a good guy in place. Mike's is a seasoned veteran of education, and he's a seasoned veteran of Amity, and I'm sure he's stepping into a much better situation than he did the first two times. The first time he came in was in our darkest days, and the second time was in the midst of a lot of other stuff. So I'm sure he's going to be able to concentrate a lot more on what superintendents do, and he's got a tremendous staff underneath him with Jack Lazine and Jim Sisa, and Dr. Brady's hired some tremendous people over there. So I think Mike even said that in the paper, that he's looking forward to working with these people because it's a tremendous group. So I think we're okay until hopefully they get some good candidates to recommend. So we'll keep you posted on that. Okay. Andy, you have anything?
The police commissioners meeting was, a lot of it was really personnel related. A lot of it was a closed session, but out of the closed session was one of the main topics of conversation was staffing levels, current staffing levels, retirement, and replacing the officer at Beecher School. And a recommendation was then made by the Board of Commissioners did vote on replacing the officer at Beecher School. And we'll undertake other discussions. The union spoke, and they really felt the manning level was below where it should be, and thought that maybe we should have basically 3 new officers. I mean, to replace him, the one who was retiring, and an additional officer. And they had a lot of discussion about coverage, how many officers on the road, and what happens if they only have 2 people out there and they get another call, which leaves then an officer exposed. So I think that so the first was really to get that one officer, make a motion to get him replaced at Beecher School, and then I think there's continuing conversation about staffing levels.
And my understanding is that both the SRO at the high school and the officer at Beecher, while they are there,
That can leave, yes.
they are absolutely available in the event of an emergency. They do not have, they're not sitting there. So they're really in service as far as I'm concerned. And I'm sure we'll have this discussion with the police department.
Yeah.
But again, if you remember, is it Sergeant McCarthy?
Yes.
He made a presentation to us one night, which I didn't think was appropriate. My statement was, I think you got to present it to the police commissioners, who then present it to the Board of Selectmen, not to us.
And I think that's the route they're going now.
Yeah, I think you have to.
Traveling.
But yeah, my understanding, like I said, so while they might want to replace them, I think we have to ask a lot of questions about if they're available from why are they, it's not like they're committed 100% to those 2 jobs, so something to talk about.
But I think that was basically
Yeah.
the most important thing that came up at that meeting.
And Monday night is the country club meeting, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. David, do you have anything?
Yes, and I attended the Rec Commission on April 29th. They announced that there will be 5 concerts, because there's 5 Tuesdays in July this summer, and it looks like they have a good lineup. They are also going to start doing background checks for all their hires. It's something I guess nobody ever thought about before. So they got a company, I don't know if you referred them to the company, Tom? So they're going to start doing that. And then on the May 20th meeting, the major important point was that the summer camp registration was on target about where they expected it to be.
Okay. Sandra.
Okay, I attended the Library Commission meeting on June 10th, and I'll say that Todd really does a wonderful job at summarizing everything that's going on in the library. And I don't think we realize how many programs they run. I was really impressed. There's an art exhibit that was done with the children's librarian, and it's great. It's collages, and it's just really wonderful to have students have these different work groups available to them and to be able to display their art. Todd is getting the carpet replaced in the community room. So he's very happy about that. Milliken is willing to replace it, and I think they want to maintain a good customer. Todd also presented a program that Newington Library runs for special needs children. He went up there and he talked to them about that and was really, really impressed with how they actually organize this. And each child who comes actually comes with a therapist, and oftentimes with one of their parents. So it's really an opportunity for the children to be able to interact with each other, but also for the parents to do so, because many times they're not these support groups. So he is very interested in pursuing this. It's for children who are 0 to 3 years of age, and they run this actually once a week. And different people come different weeks, and it does actually bring in people from different towns, so it's not necessarily just focused on the town where the program is located. So he is going to pursue that and come back with a proposal to the Library Commission. They have probably at this point finished their project of interfiling all of the fiction, mystery, science fiction, by author, so that those will not be in different sections of the library. And they have the assistance of 2 Amity seniors. They have to do a project if they don't want to, quote, go to school for the last month. And he felt that the kids really learned a lot, and they were very enthusiastic about helping out, so I was very happy to have their assistance. The children's librarian also went to do presentations at Beecher Road School to all the classrooms. She did 30 presentations about summer programs at the library. So there's a lot of outreach that's going on, and I think that's really important. The commission also did approve a financial donor policy in terms of how to handle monetary donations and other types of donations. So I think that will really help in terms of clarifying who has responsibility. They have determined that no gifts are going to be recognized by any type of permanent wall fixture. That had been a request of someone who wanted to donate some funds, and that any financial donation above $500, how that's recognized will be handled by the library director. So I think they feel that they have a structure around this now in terms of how to handle that. And although I did not attend the Woodbridge Board of Ed Finance Committee meeting, as Matt reported, they are planning a surplus of about $42,000. They have received bid summaries and recommendations for a lot of the work that we presented before in terms of what the work in the cafeteria, carpet replacement, the phone system, so they're going to be proceeding with that this summer, and are very grateful that they really have the funds to make that happen. And of course, those will be removed from their capital budget.
Good. Thank you.
Good. I have very good news for the board and for the public. We submitted our application for the microgrid last Tuesday, and it was accepted. We have received a certificate from DEP acknowledging the fact that it has been received and is firmly locked in place. This is the 3rd application that we've sent. Back in September, they gave us about 3 days to send in a 10-question thing, which we get done. And they went to December and gave us a 25-question thing, which we got done. This was a mere 97 pages. Hopefully we're done with all
Oh
that.
my God.
The amount of money that we're looking at, and just to refresh your memory, if we do get a load cell, it's going to be located on Amity's campus, and then they will come down and do all of our buildings here, including the fire station. Beecher is too far away, so Beecher is not a factor. The value on this is estimated to be $6.9 million, and it's supposed to be funded totally by the state under some grants and some other funding. Some people say, like the movie, show me the money, but at least we've gotten in the race. The only competitor we have for towns under 10,000 population is the town of Wyndham. So there may be Wyndham. Or it may be 2 towns under the 10,000. They were very finicky about exact values of population and a whole bunch of other stuff. The detailing on this one was rather extensive. And, I tip my hat to my friend Mr. Genovese, who was a gigantic assistant. Not only assistant, I think he carried the ball across the touchdown.
Usually does.
I know that.
Who will own this equipment if we get it?
We will.
Who?
And we may have surplus.
It actually depends on what route you go. The one way to go is if there's not enough funding, they have a third party who would then buy. We would own all the switching, all the lines. but a third party would purchase the generation equipment. And originally that was not contemplated to be funded by the grant. And one way to do that is a third party to purchase the generation equipment, finance it, and then sell you back the power at a reduced rate over a long period of time to recoup their investment. There's a term for it, it's just not coming to me. You're familiar with what it's called?
I know.
I can't think of what the term is, but that's one other option
Mhm.
that exists if we don't get funded for the whole thing.
So we'll be hearing more about
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thus far, the score is in our favor. We're doing well on this.
Do you know when their anticipated decision?
They indicated 4 to 6 weeks.
it. Okay, and a reminder, our July meeting will be Thursday, July 25th, which I guess is 5 weeks from tonight, as we discussed. And at this point, we don't know the makeup of the Board of Finance because 3 members are up, Andy, myself, and Ian Rubin. But I guess Wednesday night, the new Board of Selectmen will meet to take recommendations and decide who's going to be on what board. So I think going forward, I think we have an interesting year coming up. As we discussed, the country club will be a major decision to be made, and but we know we have a solid budget. We all worked on it, and it was passed. I think I don't anticipate any problems. Of course, there's going to be a Beecher referendum somewhere. I think they're targeting September for the referendum for the start of the renovation work over there, and so it should be. I think it'll be a very interesting budget year, and looking forward to working with Ellen. I think we're going to have a good relationship. Anything else?
What did they decide about the Amity quote referendum?
That's a good question. The Beecher people were not thrilled that it was going to be the same week as they want to have the Beecher. So I don't know. There's a little back and forth there. So Dr. Brady's not going to do anything to rock the boat. So
No.
I don't know what they're going to do, but it would not be a good idea to have them both in the same week.
No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
And there's a lot of talk about this ball field, this turf field. So it should be interesting. But I haven't heard another thing about it. But I know Beecher. I mean the Woodbridge Board of Ed is pursuing getting it changed, but I don't think Brady's going to do anything at this point. So.
Okay.
And that's about it. Anything else? Anybody? No? Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you.
Wow.